Today's adventure starts off at Dunkin' with a large hot black coffee. I gotta get moving. Boy, did that car come out of nowhere. I thought I had time to kind of showcase the Dunkin' coffee. Didn't really have a chance to do it in drive-thru. It went so quick. Nonetheless, welcome to today's video. As of recording of this Wednesday, January 15th, 2025, I wanted to stop off at Pizza Hut because this is kind of a heavy home hitting video, primarily focusing on the first arcade that I used to go to. And the real thing is, I had so many different places that I would play arcade cabinets that I don't remember where the first place was. You know, at the time with Chuck E. Cheese, I was more focused, you know, with birthday parties on winning tickets, right? You know, putting your tokens in and getting more toys, more prizes. By the time I kind of appreciated, you know, an arcade machine, late 80s, early 90s, and you know, at that point, Pizza Hut would always come to mind, along with the 7-Eleven. But again, you know, in the late 80s, when I would go to 7-Eleven, take my allowance there, I wanted a Slurpee. Pizza Hut, you know, if we dined in at Pizza Hut, if we got something to go when my parents were paying the bill, regardless, I would sit there and look at the arcade machines in the corner, and there's usually 3 of them. There was a pinball machine, and there was always 2 other games. And I remember seeing Ninja Turtles, the arcade, for the first time, and I was just blown away. Like, Pizza Hut, I wish they still had that. We are going to go to a place that you're going to be shocked that this was actually my arcade. But I know Pizza Hut was probably a lot of people's. There's a Pizza Hut idea that I want to do, just not tonight, but just kind of wanted to start off at Pizza Hut. I mean, it's nice to see actually that it's still open, but I don't think there's any arcades in there. You know, and come to think of it, I haven't stopped here and got anything to go for a long time. And you know, the next time we get pizza, we get buffalo wings, chicken wings, I'm gonna come here. This is a good, please use the west. Usually, I don't even park on this side. It's telling us to go around the other side, but if you look through that window, in that corner is where every arcade, you know, they had that little spot right by the cash register. I don't want to get any closer. I don't really want to freak anybody out that's working tonight, but they'd always have that corner at Pizza Hut where they had arcade machines. And it was so cool to see when you were a kid. Pizza Hut was an experience of its own, and you don't get that anymore. You don't get what we had. You remember the bucket, the personal pan pizza. Yeah, it was something else to be a kid, you know, in kind of Generation X here, you know, late 80s, early 90s, just dining at Pizza Hut. I never really had an arcade, a legitimate place like an Aladdin's Castle that I would go to. The arcade machines that I played, there were scattered in different businesses, and tonight we're gonna go to 2 of those where I spent a lot of time, a lot of quarters, playing a lot of games that I love to this day. Now, if you can believe it or not, the first like real arcade that I spent a lot of my time at, playing a lot of games, was at a movie theater, and it was at the Market Cinema, which is known as Hillside Cinema, located in Delafield, Wisconsin. Shortly after I got my driver's license, mid-90s, we would come here. This where we're located now is kind of in between where I grew up and where I live now. And there is such nostalgia. I kind of mentioned this in the last video. Across the street is Walmart, and it's a special Walmart. It all started here. Now, there were other places that I played on the arcades, arcade cabinets, arcade machines. I'm always corrected on that. I like to call them arcade machines because that's what I call them when I came here. But for the most part, in my teenage years, driving a car, most of the cases was right here at the Hillside Cinema. Not every arcade cabinet that I fell in love with was at the Hillside Cinema, but a lot of the cabinets that the reason why I purchased home arcades certain home arcades, I played them here. X-Men was not here, but a lot of other games, and I'll kind of go over kind of the history and the very unique thing about this arcade they had here. There was something special about it. And just to kind of reiterate, you know, when we would go to an arcade, such as we would see like Mortal Kombat. You know, you come back, they would take Mortal Kombat out, but they'd have Mortal Kombat 2, then Mortal Kombat 3. It was the same way with this movie theater. They had one game, but they took that game out, but they brought in a similar game, a similar shooting game, a similar racing game. And you know, it was just special. We would come here to watch a movie, and you'd always make sure you brought quarters. You brought enough money because, as Happy Gilmore said, the Ms. Pac-Man's calling my name in the game room. And current temperature 17 degrees. Feels like 2 degrees. I mean, as cold as it is. You know, the importance of this cinema, that's why I'm standing outside right now. But yeah, we're gonna run in. There's always two sides of the parking lot. I usually parked on this side because I was coming from this direction, but now coming from this other direction, I decided to park over here because it's closer to the door. But I guess I still don't park over here. I'm used to, you know, when I'd watch a movie here, and there was 3 ways to get out. You can come out this main way or on either end. And I'm just so used to just beelining it and going to that other end and going out to the parking lot over here. Further down is the GameStop that is closing this week that we were just at last night. Okay, going inside. Okay, now it doesn't appear the way it did look in the early 90s, and it seems a lot smaller. But seriously, I mean, this was my arcade. This room had so much stuff, you know, and it seems like it's the size of a bedroom now. Okay, I think the best way to describe this room is everything is different now, and I think the reason why it seemed bigger in the 90s was there were arcade cabinets in the middle of the floor, so you would have to walk around either side. You know, they didn't have racing games like this size in 1994, 1995. You know, there was no claw machines at that point. They were all arcade cabinets. I can't remember if there were pinball machines in here, but there were shooting games. And right here is where I fell in love with Area 51, with Lethal Enforcers. And when those games were gone, those are my two favorite shooting games. Revolution X took its place. So it was very similar to, you know, NBA Jam. Look at this old change machine. Like, this is the change machine that I would have put my money in and gotten quarters in the 90s. This is the same one. The only thing that is left in here, maybe the floor, but I recall having plugs. They would have had to plug in the arcade cabinets right here, because I don't remember having lines that we had to walk over because they were right in the middle. They must have redone the floor since, but this would have been, I mean, look at the wood grain. This would have been the change machine that I got my quarters from. I was onto something. I think I was talking about like NBA Jam, right? You'd have NBA Jam, but then Tournament Edition came out. So they would get rid of the one NBA Jam and they'd bring in Tournament Edition. The same thing with this, you know, this room. They had a shooting game, but then they'd bring in something else. I like Revolution X, but when they swapped them out and they put Revolution X here, I would play it, but I always missed Lethal Enforcers. I always missed Area 51. It is nice and warm in here. I mean, standing outside felt like too. I just want to state that it's really nice in here. It's nice that they let me come in here too. I didn't really tell them I was filming, but I just said I just want to come in the arcade room. You know, back in the day, you would have had to buy a ticket to get in the movie theater. Now, you can walk in and just buy popcorn if you want. You can buy concessions. The reason you hold that ticket for a movie is that they could check it, right? So I couldn't just go into a room, sneak in, and say, "Where's your ticket?" So it's nice that I could come in here and just kind of relive the 90s. Hillside Cinema is located in Delafield, Wisconsin, and it was built November 25th, 1994. There are 14 screen theaters in here with stadium seat and digital sound. So any movie that came out between 1994 and 1998, I saw it here. In these four walls, any arcade cabinet that they had, I would have played it in that time. This was where I would go. It's just, it's so surreal to come back in here. And then, you know, after we leave, to kind of show you what happened, you know, down the road, like playing actual arcade cabinets here. And then other places in the area, which we're stopping at next, how it all kind of just connects. It's very interesting. Look at that, that movie poster there for Captain America. Was it the Brave New World? With the Red Hulk. There's a chance that some of the games, maybe they were on this side, and maybe they were on this side, but they were facing this way. Maybe this was open, but I am almost convinced that there were cabs here in the middle. You know, I've spent enough time here that I should have, you know, how long ago was that? Let's just say 95, 96. I mean, we're talking 30 years ago. It's just crazy. You know, the amount of time that I have spent in this room. Now the pinball here, the claw machines, the racing have been in here for years. Every time that I come here and we see a movie here, or I kind of go, you know, take a trip down memory lane, it's all the same stuff, but it is nice that they have kept it. Like, it's still here. It may not be what I'm looking for, what other people are looking for, but it's something. But they still have the change machine. It's so cool. Just out of posterity, I'm sure we'll be back here. I recall we stopped here about 2 years ago. I think it was about 2 years ago we were here. I actually got Kelly to play this racing game. I go, Kelly, you gotta, I need a demo. Like, it was early in the walk and talks, and we came here when they opened, and everything is the same. That, you know, since the last time, and I've seen movies since, but yeah, it's just cool. So just kind of out of posterity, this little shot here, just to document, and the change machine that I would have used in the 90s. It's still running to this day. If it wasn't running, this would be lit, right? Temporarily out of service. So yeah, it should be functional. The quarters would come down right here. You insert your bills. Be cool to have the real thing. And I'm focusing on this because it's just, this is nostalgia. Like this right here, New Wave Toys would make something like this with USB ports. I mean, this is the real deal. Also, Christopher Reeve's Superman has been here for years. I always look for this every time I come here. This Walmart, the back side of this Walmart, was the first place that I ever saw arcade went up. When they used to put them out in the aisles, you know, you'd see the boxes, you'd see a display model. I mean, these were the first gens, like early on. 2018, 2019, arcade went ups at this very Walmart, right across the street from basically my home arcade. Like, this is where I would go, right over here, and play arcades after a movie. And the only thing that this theater really lacks is there's no ultra screen, and there's none of those dream loungers, those kind of like recliners. So it's on the little outdated side, but for the most part, I mean, it's still running. And you know, going back to COVID, it made it through it. There's my car, 2 other cars, a few cars over here. Not a lot of cars here on a Wednesday night. Usually they'd have deals on Tuesdays. Looks like they still do a Value Tuesday, free popcorn, $6 movie tickets, probably the night to go. Not a lot of people are going to the movie. I just saw a sign in there for the movie Red One. And I just watched that on Amazon. So Amazon showing movies that are in the movie theater and they were free for being a Prime. So you're battling with all that stuff to get people to come in here and spend money when they could just watch something at home. But nonetheless, this was my arcade. But it wasn't the only place, and we're gonna go somewhere that's gonna be very surprising, I think. This was, I wanted to start with this, and the second place, same time frame, but a little earlier, little before actually Hillside opened. I would play arcades at a very, you're not gonna believe it. So again, true like arcade places. Didn't spend a lot of time there when I was a kid, but in this area they were at other venues, and that's what I think of when I come out in this area. Now, if you've ever passed by on I-94, if you're heading west or heading east towards Milwaukee, if you're passing through the state and you see the Smiley Face Barn, there's a restaurant over here. It's Olive Garden. Now, it wasn't always Olive Garden. Going back years ago, before Hillside, which actually is just right across the freeway over here. It was a family chef. It was a family diner, and then it converted into a Shoney's, and from Shoney's it turned into Perkins. Now, unfortunately, with COVID, Perkins went under. They closed all the Perkins, and what they did was they completely leveled the building. So the building that had those three restaurants was ripped down. They rebuilt, which is now Olive Garden. But it's in the exact same spot as those, the parking lot's the same. The Smiley Face Barn has always been here. I'm not sure if it's always been the American Hotel, but there was always a hotel here. They had an indoor pool, and this was an active restaurant where people stayed at the hotel along with fast food up on the hill, which kind of got something fun after this to go up there. We'll come here, and if you see where the Olive Garden sign is, this was actually where you would walk in at any of those restaurants. So let's go all the way back to Family Chef. They had arcade machines in here right through that door, and Superman, Final Fight, Spider-Man, Captain America, and the Avengers. I played for the first time right where these people are walking in. Right down from Hillside Cinema. I never saw Final Fight, Superman in person, Sega Spider-Man, Captain America, the Avengers, until I came here. And you'd play. Wouldn't spend a lot of time. This was a very congested area. People paying the bill. Not a lot of room to play, but yeah, they were right. If you could imagine a different looking building, but the same entrance, like the same spot, was right in there. The first time I ever saw Final Fight was right here. It was in this parking lot. Superman, the arcade. Remember, there was a red Superman, which, talking with my buddy Zod Rider, that was originally supposed to be Shazam, but something happened with the license, with a contract, so they just made him a red Superman, because there's no red Superman, but there's a Shazam. And how cool would that have been if you would have saw Shazam on that artwork? But this is where I played Superman, Final Fight, Captain America, and the Avengers. So when I play my X-Men, if we were on the arcade one up, if we play X-Men, and I'm like, let's jump over to Captain America, the Avengers, I think about playing it here. Final Fight, playing it here. And of course, Sega Spider-Man. The only place that I saw those was here, other than like Galloping Ghosts. Like, these are arcade cabinets that you don't find at a lot of places. They're so rare, but they had it here. It was something special. And time goes, and things change, but now it's an Olive Garden. I mean, it's popular with the people here. It's always crowded. Any Olive Garden you see, but for me, I miss it. I miss those old family diners, and the things that they had there. The arcade machines. Even like a slot machine that they would have for for people coming. Like there was just something, about it. So Delafield, a lot of arcade cabinets, 80s and 90s. Now, when we leave the parking lot, there's a hidden way here. So it kind of split. Right where this car's coming, they had the choice to get on I-94 or to take this slight right and to come down this street, because I can't go any further. It's a one-way street, but I can go up this drive right here where you see the McDonald's. And kind of a fun fact is this building that remains here was a Hardee's, and it has been closed for a long time, for a number of years. And we came here about a year and a half ago. It was summer, it was warm. I spent a lot of time walking around, checking out the restaurant. I worked here. I worked at this Hardee's. You can see it off of I-94, the busy shopping area. And there was 2 Hardee's I worked at, but the last Hardee's was this location. And every time that I would come back here to eat, I'd always say, you know, I worked here. Like, you know, you just kind of look around. There's not a lot of Hardee's left, but there's still some in the area. But I miss coming here and eating at Hardee's. And recently, you could still see the star right here. They completely covered it with like a darker gray. So there's no marketing of Hardee's left. Where I'm standing, in the parking lot, Hardee's is behind me. I worked here. I want to point out a couple of things and like how this area just all connects. This was my job. Across the freeway, you see Walmart right at the top of the hill. First place that I saw Arcade 1-Up at. And then right next to there, you can see Hillside Cinema, where was my first arcade. Like this was the arcade. And then right down the hill where Olive Garden was, just down that direction right there, another place where I played, you know, Superman, Final Fight, Captain America, The Avengers. I'm forgetting one. I spent so much time right here, and it all connects. So every time we come out here, there's a Best Buy over here, and we'll kind of end the video. It'll be a familiar Best Buy. You'll be like, okay, that's the Best Buy, the one that's across from Walmart. You'll have kind of a different angle. There was a police officer that just came through, and it was probably like, well, you know, what is this guy doing? And he saw me, you know, that I was filming, and he kind of left me alone. But I kind of lost my train of thought out there. But you can see right here where this pole is. I can flash my brights. It's not really gonna help. There was the Hardee's sign was right here. That is gone. So all the Hardee's theming is gone. And there was a rumor years ago that this McDonald's that's right behind Hardee's owns this property. And Hardee's, they paid the lease for Hardee's to keep Taco Bell out of here, because at the time Taco Bell was the #1 competitor for McDonald's. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that might be why this has been vacant for as long as it has been. So that Walmart across the freeway, we were just that direction, kind of could see it all at the Hardee's parking lot, was the Walmart. I always like to point it out every time we come here when we come to this Best Buy. So every time you see the brick looking Best Buy, this is the Delafield Best Buy. This is in the area of like all of this, like all of that memories for me. And this, if it wasn't for this, for growing up in this area, for having that arcade, having a diner that has arcade machines, I don't know if I'd have the passion. Now, there were other places that, you know, I played arcade cabinets, but this was it was unique. And I just thought that kind of do a trip down memory lane. There is there is something more to this, but I wanted to kind of show everything first. That's why I pointed out the Hardee's, the movie theater, and of course, the Family Chef. Might have been called something else, but I'm pretty sure it was Family Chef because it turned into Shoney's soon afterwards, but there's something else that I wanted to kind of touch on yesterday when we did the GameStop video, but I just wasn't feeling it, and I wanted to move it for today, the 15th instead of the 14th. But it's a lot easier to do it in the car than outside. It's cold. You know, the good thing is it's gonna warm up. It's not like it's gonna be warm, but it's gonna warm up for the next 2 days. It's gonna get back to kind of miserable weather for 2, but then it's kind of get, you know, be in the positive. So this was a tough night for me to decide to do this. I wanted to put it off one more night, but I wanted to do this because I didn't get a chance to do this on the 14th, because the 14th is when I really wanted to do it, but focused on the GameStop. January 14th, going back to the previous video, will always be, you know, a very important date for me for here on out, for the rest of my life. We'll go into Best Buy and I just feel like I'm a little shaded in here. The lighting in this parking lot has never been good. I recall being right over here when Turtles in Time was available, but then not available. When Best Buy kept canceling my order, I did the intro right here, and the lighting was horrible. So we'll go into Best Buy and I'll just kind of do my recap and just say what I wanted to say yesterday, but why I decided to come out here and kind of do a trip down memory lane, a nostalgic trip. And now the only arcade one-ups in Delafield are at this Best Buy. So everything, you know, going back to Walmart, the first place I saw them, now it's Best Buy. And there was a whole row of these weeks ago, you know, a month, 2 months ago. Now, just down to NBA Jam and Pac-Man. Unless they move some to other spots, yeah, they really cleaned house. Looks like a little revamp going on over here, kind of shuffling some things around. They've had the collectibles in different spots. I wonder if they're kind of consolidating. I see there's some more arcade ones. So yeah, there was stuff all the way down this aisle. When we first came across, like there were Golden Tee, there were arcade one-ups like right in the middle of the floor. They still have some of the collectibles scattered. This aisle, the aisle over here, and then right around the corner from the Pac-Man display cabinet, and then here are the rest of the arcade one-ups. So there's a lot of Best Buys that we stop at, and they don't all have boxes showing. So some of them might be in the back, but for the most part, Delafield, staying true to my childhood, my teenage years of having retro gaming, and it all comes back in a circle, and I think that's why it is so big for me. But like I said, it wasn't just me. They have Rolling Thunder planned. There was someone else who experienced a lot of this with me, but not so much the arcade one-up. Back in summer, I don't know if it was July or August, I shared at the end of one of my videos that a good friend of mine, my best friend from high school, you know, we all have several best friends in life, but one of my best friends, middle school and high school, passed away in May. And everything that we just went to, the movie theater, Hardee's, Family Chef, he was there. We played these games. We saw the movies. He was with me the whole time. Like one of us would drive our car, and we experienced the same thing. And you know, when I come out here and I think about that, I think about spending time with my friends. You know, when all that mattered back then was just hanging out, having a good time. And I wanted to do something special on the 14th because that was my friend Danny's birthday. This was his first birthday that he wasn't around for. He passed away. He would have been 45 years old yesterday, and I just didn't have a chance. It just, with the GameStop video, it just didn't really work out for me to kind of share that. And I wanted to do something every year, and I guess this is my my first attempt of remembering Danny on his birthday and just kind of going down memory lane. It's hard to do something in January. I didn't really have the best lighting out there to kind of showcase things, but I didn't want to put this off, you know, because technically I didn't do it yesterday, but that's why I thought now's the time. We're gonna go check out the first arcade, because that was our arcade. So just kind of wanted to share with everybody why I decided to come out here, and what we went over was because that was our spot. That's what we did together, and I just want to kind of just remember, it was Danny's birthday yesterday, and happy birthday. And I didn't want to come across as you know, as a sad point, but I just wanted to share that with everyone, that, you know, coming out here, that was kind of our spot. And he loved gaming. Like, he was that was his passion. Like, you come over and hang out with him, and it was basically watching him play the Sega Genesis. Like, we would rent the game for the weekend, and he would that's what he did. He would play that game, and, you know, he would love this stuff. And it's too bad. I tried to reconnect with him the last couple of years. You know, you reach out on Facebook, and I don't know if he was going on Facebook as much. I never could reconnect with him, and would have been cool to kind of share this experience with him, and to see what he thought of Arcade One Up, about these, you know, home arcades, because, you know, he played. I'm sure he was into PC gaming. I heard that he was, you know, very active in a gaming community, and yeah, would have been interested to get his thoughts on it. It's just too bad we could never connect in the last 25 years. This was the most recent picture I could find of Danny. I think it was a New Year's party, or maybe a Roaring 20s get together, but pretty much looked very similar. You know, when we were teenagers, he always could grow facial hair, you know, before the rest of us. So just want to share, you know, when I talk about Danny, this was my friend Danny. I don't want to leave on a sad note, but I just want to share everything. Just kind of doing a full circle here, and, you know, we end at Best Buy because everything that I experienced in those years, and again, there were other places that we went to, but a lot of it was right here, and it all just kind of connects. And I thought that, you know, for the first birthday that my friend Danny couldn't celebrate, this is what I thought of, what I wanted to do. And I think every year is going to be different, but it's got to start somewhere. So I just thought, go down memory lane, kind of point out our old stomping grounds, or one of them, and yeah, we'll see what happens when we do it all again next year. But I don't know, I just couldn't do it last night. I was kind of dreading that date coming, and I thought, if I put this all together somehow and just kind of explain why, I'm going to show like my first arcade, because it's nothing like it was, but it was something then, and it means something to me now. And that's why these are so important to me. You know, whatever the opinion is of certain home arcades, it's retro gaming, and we all have our own way of enjoying retro gaming, I guess. And there's nothing wrong with any of it. I want to thank everybody for coming along with me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I'll see you guys next time. The two that we go to the most, they don't have what they have here. Maybe it's just because it's Delafield. Because of everything that we kind of went over today, maybe it's just fate. It's just meant to be that with everything, with seeing them over here for the first time, with having certain arcade cabinets at my disposal, my teenage years to play and you know, to have memories from, that this very Best Buy kind of outshine the rest of them. I don't know, but I gotta leave it somehow. See what I mean with the lighting? There's not really a spot. Maybe if I turn this way, is it a little bit better? It's a little bit better. This right here, best lighting in the parking lot. Even with that car light just going out. Still, I'm not shadowed out If I go over here, kind of shadowed out. The shadow knows. I saw the shadow at that hillside. You think about the movies, The Net, Apollo 13, I'm drawing blanks here. The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. I forgot if I mentioned when I was standing out there, you know, kind of the movies, but everything from 94 to 98. Just because it's football season, just to kind of leave on upbeat. In 1995, the year before the Green Bay Packers won Super Bowl 31, they played in the NFC Championship game against the Dallas Cowboys, who played Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl 30. Brett Favre that was his first year that he was MVP. And we went into Dallas, we lost the NFC Championship game. We were convinced in Wisconsin that this was the year, we were gonna win the Super Bowl. We lost. That very night, as bummed out as I was, Sunday night, went to that movie theater, saw Jumanji with my buddy Danny.